And we are live. Well, hello everybody. Trevor here at Barrett Knives. I'm going to start doing a series of videos in which I try to help you begin or improve your endeavors in blacksmithing or bladesmithing. Keep in mind, I'm not very savvy when it comes to video making, so they may not be necessarily the most interesting or well edited, but hopefully they're helpful. So I thought that a good way to start is to show you some of the very basic things that you're going to need in order to start bladesmithing or even blacksmithing. They're similar, but they're different. Keep in mind, however, this is not necessarily a how-to, but more of a how I do, okay? I wouldn't say it's right, I wouldn't say it's wrong. I've had a lot of successes and I've had a lot of failures. So this is what I did in order to start. Some of the equipment also, to let you know, some of the equipment is, though not necessarily fancy, some of it's an upgrade, some of it's very basic. But you can make a very nice blade or blacksmithing project with very simple tools. You won't need some of this, but eventually you'll want to upgrade to it, and you'll want to upgrade even beyond anything you see that I have, because I don't have the best stuff, but I'm working on it. So let's go over some of the basics. You're going to need a heat source, something to strike with, something to strike on, something to hold with, something to quench with, something to grind, and something to temper. So right off the top of my head, I'd say that's the first 7 things you need. So not necessarily in that order. First of all, something to heat with. Okay, you're going to need a forge. You can do coal, you can do propane. I'm sure there's plenty of other things you can do as well. But what I do is propane. I started with coal on a little rinky-dink homemade thing. Then I upgraded to rinky-dink homemade propane forge. And eventually I finally bought a dual propane burner. I'll tell you all about that on another video. But personally, in my area, propane is the cheapest. Propane is the easiest, and propane is clean, though you need ventilation. You need ventilation with coal as well. But anyway, the point is, for me, in my situation, this works very well. So that's what I use to heat it. Propane forge and a little bit of fire brick, and it works extremely well. Next, you'll need something to strike with. You'll need a hammer. I would recommend that you start with a 2.5 pound hammer. For me, it's kind of an all-around hammer. It's not going to be your heaviest and strongest for moving a lot of material, but it can. And it's not going to be too heavy for the more delicate stuff. It can do it, but for me, that's what works. I would also recommend just getting a rounded face and cross peen. That will give you lots of versatility in one hammer. So if you want to stay cheap, just start with this, play around. Once you figure it out, then you can move on from there. Then you'll need something to strike on. So an anvil. If anyone knows what they're doing, they'll recognize that my anvil is iron. It's kind of a bummer. I wouldn't recommend iron because it's soft and it gets a lot of divots. It beats it up pretty good. And those divots and whatnot will transfer to your material. But I'm kind of broke and I can't afford a full anvil where I am, isolated Alaska. It's very difficult to find and get an anvil to us. So I have an iron one, which it's better than nothing. I started with a giant steel plate, and that was nice, but I wanted the horn, so that's what I do. We're working on that. You can make anvils out of railroad tracks, you can find scrap steel, you can find all kinds of things, but you'll need that to strike on. Next, that's an angry squirrel over there, you'll need something to hold the hot steel with. Tongs. Now, I would recommend buying 2 things. If you're going to be bladesmithing, buy a pair or a set like this. Amazon, these are I think they're wolf jaw, and they're cheap-ish, 40 bucks, I don't know, it depends. But I got these, and for 4 years, these have been my go-to tongs. I have a few other little things, but these handle most of the things that I need because I'm a bladesmith, mostly. So get something to hold your steel with, unless you can do it barehanded. I don't think you can. Next, you're going to need something to grind. You want to clean up the profile of the blade. You want to grind in, clean up the bevels of the blade. So you can use, sorry, lost my train of thought. You can use just files. So buy yourself a nice set of files, and that will do it. Between that and sandpaper. You can still make a beautiful piece with files, but it's going to be very labor intensive. And it will take a very long time, and it can be easy to mess up. So if you don't want to do that, if you're willing to spend some money, you can also buy a belt sander. This is a 2x72 belt sander. I picked this one up for about $800, but you can get a 1x32 belt sander for 40 to 70 bucks, depending on which one you get, to get you started. In fact, the small one will be just fine for knives and other smaller things. But if you're looking to upgrade, if you're looking to do more than just a few knives and you want to be able to make some production, consider upgrading. But for now, you can start with just files and sandpaper. It will be difficult, but you can do it. Okay, you're also going to need a quench tank. A quench tank is essentially you heat treating the blade. You can do it in a pot, you can do it in a steel pipe, not galvanized though. Galvanized and heat don't mix. But essentially, you need something to heat treat your steel. I would recommend starting with canola oil. It's a very nice medium, very simple to get. It's not too terribly expensive to make enough for small blades. But yeah, you're gonna just start with that. We'll do a video on that later. Next, you're going to, let's see, what all have I said? I don't know, whatever. I'll just go on to the next thing. PPE, personal protective equipment. I would say the absolute essential for a blacksmithing shop would be eye protection, ear protection, hand protection. And I would strongly recommend an apron. Now I know there's a lot of guys and a lot of girls that'll look, oh, safety. And that's true. There's a lot of shortcuts I take that I probably shouldn't. Don't take a shortcut on this, okay? I have burned myself so many times. A few of them were relatively serious. And I have had so many pieces of hot metal bounce off my eyeglasses and safety glasses. Just do it, okay? Bite the bullet, put up with it, you get used to it. Oh, I would also recommend a face mask. This guy will help you out a lot. A lot of times when you're grinding, it throws off a lot of dust. If you're doing woodwork with the handles or antler or whatever you're using, lots of dust. So definitely use a face mask. It'll help you big time. It'll save you a lot of problems later on. Yeah. Other thing for safety, I guess, is have a water tank nearby and a fire extinguisher. Why would you need a fire extinguisher? It's hot metal on hot metal. Well, I've had pieces fly out of my tongs and go into the corner of the shop over there and instantly catch things on fire. So yeah, no, you're gonna need some of that. Yeah. Okay. Off the top of my head, that's what you're gonna need to start. Oh, and probably a drill press. Yeah, definitely a drill press. So get one of those. You could forge it in, but that's challenging. You could drill it in by hand, but that's not going to be very true. Get yourself a drill press. Okay, so Trevor here, Barrett Knives. You get the idea. Not much of a video guy, but that's the best you're going to get today. Also, I don't really know how to end a video. So I'll say questions, comments, whatever, let me know. I'll be doing videos on specifics with knives, specifics with forges, specifics with grinding, and we're getting there. But this is the start. Basics to blacksmithing, bladesmithing. Oh, I'll do a video about the differences between them. Anyway, so if you have any questions, or if you want a specific video, or whatever the case is, you know how it goes, comment down below. Check out the Instagram. check out the YouTube, check out the Etsy, blah, 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 all that stuff. What do they say? Subscribe, ring that bell, or whatever it is. Okay, you get the point. So you want to hear more, you know what to do. And I don't know how to end a video. I don't have a little catchphrase, so I'm just going to end the video. Bye.